Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely challenging everything you think you know about wealth. We're breaking down a recent, truly fascinating interview from the show The Icons, where host Tyler Y sat down with best-selling author Morgan Housel. Housel has this incredibly counterintuitive philosophy on money and life, and we're going to dive right into it. Get ready, because we're going to redefine what it actually means to be wealthy and hopefully teach you these vital financial lessons before it's too late.
So let's kick things off with a pretty provocative question. When you go out and spend your hard-earned cash, what is the absolute best return on investment you could possibly get? I mean, society constantly tells us it's a bigger house, right? Or maybe a luxury car, or just amassing this massive stock portfolio. But Housel argues something completely different.
The profoundly simple truth here is that the ultimate ROI for your money isn't a physical item at all. It's independence. It's simply buying your own freedom. It is that incredible ability to wake up every single morning and say, I can do whatever I want today.
To understand how to get there, we'll quickly run through these 5 mental models: the ultimate ROI, the ego check, rich versus wealthy, the power of enough, and finally, contextualizing history and legacy. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The ultimate ROI, buying time and autonomy.
Look, saving money often feels like a punishment, doesn't it? It feels like this painful delayed gratification, where you're missing out on the fun right now. But the paradigm shift here is that you shouldn't view it that way. Instead, Housel suggests viewing every single dollar you save as an active purchase. You are literally buying independence tokens. You're buying flexibility, autonomy, and the sort of invisible shield that protects you from life's inevitable curveballs, like an unexpected job loss or a crazy medical emergency.
Moving right along to Section 2. The ego check, filtering utility from status.
Okay, let's do a quick thought experiment. I want you to imagine being completely walled off from the eyes of the entire world. It's just you and your core family living on a deserted island. Nobody can see your house, nobody can see your car, or check out your clothes. In that exact scenario, would you actually still want that specific luxury vehicle? Would you really still need that sprawling mansion?
If we're being totally honest with ourselves here, a hard truth starts to emerge. So many of the luxury items we buy, like the ones on this list, are not for our own personal utility. We buy them purely in an attempt to gain social status among absolute strangers. And, as Housel brilliantly points out, your 6-year-old child does not care how much horsepower your car has. They literally just care if you're a present, loving parent.
Which brings us to Section 3, rich versus wealthy, and the visual illusion.
Now, this is a massive distinction. We suffer from this visual illusion of money. Being rich is basically high-visibility spending driven by your ego. It's showing people exactly how much money you have. But ironically, spending money just to show it off is the absolute fastest way to have less of it. True wealth, on the other hand, is invisible. It's the unspent savings that provide you immense flexibility and peace of mind when the economy inevitably takes a downward turn.
And hey, if you think your income is just way too low to even bother saving right now, consider Housel's own life. He actually shared with Tyler Y that profound financial anxiety in his youth drove him to start saving tiny amounts early on, like 10 or 20 bucks. It wasn't about the dollar amount at all. It was entirely about building that psychological saving muscle. Training his brain early gave him the ultimate flexibility to navigate his career later on when his income finally grew.
All right, Section 4, the power of enough, progress versus contentment.
You know, we all say we just want to be happy, but Housel points out that happiness is actually a fleeting 5-second emotion. It's kind of like laughing at a really good joke. You don't laugh at a joke for 10 years straight, right? What we are actually striving for when we picture our ultimate dream life isn't constant hyper-happiness, it's contentment. It is that profound, deep-seated realization that we simply don't need anything else.
Housel has this amazing concept for this: million-dollar moments. Think of an experience in your life that is so deeply fulfilling. Maybe it's just laughing in bed with your kids on a lazy Saturday morning, that even if someone walked into the room and handed you $1 million right then and there, the moment itself couldn't get any better. These moments are completely detached from money, yet they provide a level of genuine contentment that absolutely no luxury purchase can ever replicate. Now, here's where it gets kind of paradoxical. We have to acknowledge that accepting you have enough is absolutely vital for your personal happiness. However, it is the restless human drive for more, that total lack of contentment, that actually acts as the engine of human progress. It's what builds civilization and creates life-saving medical innovations. So it's this incredibly delicate balance between finding your own personal peace and fueling global progress. Finally, Section 5, Contextualizing History and Legacy.
It's so easy to look around today, look at the overwhelming pressure of modern costs, especially housing, and feel like things have literally never been this difficult. It's a completely valid question to ask. Is it fair to feel like the economic cards are just entirely stacked against young people today?
Well, to validate that exact anxiety, just look at this number, 41. That is the median age of a first-time homebuyer in the United States today. In the past, that number was 24. I mean, that is a massive shift. It's stalling family creation, it's totally changing how people invest in their local communities, and it is causing very real, very valid financial stress.
But, and this is a big but, before we completely romanticize the past, we have to remember that nostalgic myths often hide some pretty brutal realities. We love to picture the 1950s as this perfect era of simple affordability, but Housel reminds us that life back then was actually filled with what he calls silent misery. We're talking untreated PTSD, huge issues with alcoholism. The main difference? They just didn't have today's social media-driven world constantly amplifying and broadcasting every single problem. Context really does change everything.
And speaking of historical context, let's talk about your legacy. Think about the billions and billions of people who were alive in the year 1900. Out of all of them, most of us today can probably only name about 10 of them.
It's actually incredibly freeing when you realize that almost all of us are eventually going to be completely forgotten by history. Because of that, obsessing over building this grand, world-famous legacy, it's kind of a fruitless endeavor. Instead, the ultimate legacy is wonderfully simple. Just focus on raising good children who understand the world and who will go on to raise good children of their own.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this absolute truth to just burn into your mind. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. Keep this front and center the absolute next time you feel that sudden, nagging urge to upgrade your lifestyle purely for the sake of appearances. And that leads to one final, provocative question for you to chew on before making your next significant purchase. Be completely honest with yourself. Are you buying it to genuinely secure your own personal independence, or are you just trying to impress a bunch of strangers? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep building that saving muscle.